More than a quarter of prescriptions go unfilled by patients. That is a lot of people who are delaying their recovery, or worse, not recovering at all. Solving this problem should keep communities healthier. And Surescripts recently released their First Fill Abandonment solution to directly address this gap. They teamed up with Arcadia to offer this product to providers. And joining me on camera to talk about it is Dr. Lynne Nowak. She's the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Surescripts. Let's get to it. Dr. Nowak, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
I'm excited to be here with you at Health 2025, talking about some of the new things that Surescripts is doing. But maybe before we dive in, can you tell our audience a little bit about your role at Surescripts?
Yeah, great. Well, again, thanks for having me. It's really terrific to be here. Health is always so exciting. I am Chief Data and Analytics Officer here at Surescripts, and it's been a pleasure. I've been here about 2 years now.
And Dr. Nowak, I've got to dive right into it because I read something that was very exciting that you're doing with Arcadia, and this is all around First Fill Abandonment. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, super exciting. We just announced our partnership with Arcadia last week, and also launched the product First Fill Abandonment last week as well. Very exciting. What we're really focusing on is patients who are getting a new therapy, so they have a new prescription, and we're following to make sure those patients actually pick those prescriptions up. And we can track that if a patient doesn't pick their medication up in 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, we can actually send a notification to the providers or to, say, a health plan case manager to bring it to their attention that that patient who had a new prescription written has not yet filled that prescription, so they can do an early intervention and really figure out what's going on with that patient, why haven't they picked it up, kind of get to the bottom of what that barrier may have been, whether it's maybe they don't have transportation, maybe they couldn't have afforded the medication, maybe they talked to a neighbor who said, oh, you don't want to take that medicine, and they changed their mind. But regardless of what the reason is, it's a great opportunity for the caregivers, providers, health plans, to really get early and make sure that patient gets on track with a therapy, or gets on the therapy that was originally prescribed.
So, Dr. Nowak, what is the consequence of patients not filling their scripts?
Yeah, so it's a surprising statistic that somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30% of patients get a new prescription and never pick it up. So it's really kind of a staggering statistic, and it's one of those things that really is a previously unknown insight because there's no claim. It's really sort of invisible to the industry on who these patients are. And the consequence, to your question, is that these patients will go untreated longer. I'm an internal medicine physician. I think about all those times back when I was in practice that I ordered a new blood pressure medicine, or a patient newly diagnosed with diabetes, and it's not until they come back 3 months later, 6 months later, or God forbid maybe end up in the hospital with a consequence, that I find out they never started on the therapy that we had discussed in the office. So it's really exciting to bring this new insight into the market, because we have that ability. We see those new prescriptions coming across, and we get that medication fill data to be able to put that together and really share that with the providers in a timely, very urgent way to help them with those patients not have that clinical consequences of not taking their meds.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that you're really decreasing the burden on the overall system, because if I don't take my medication, I'm more likely to end up in a more acute care setting, ED, and which is also more expensive. So by getting these patients on the therapy that they've been prescribed, that they're recommended, you're keeping them from those more severe cases.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly, is going to help with adherence overall, going to help with lowering the cost of healthcare. Most importantly, it's going to help patients get healthier. And that's what we're really here to do. And it really also helps the physicians sort of know what's going on with their patients, especially those providers that are in value-based care arrangements, at risk. They need to be, really following the outcomes and and really the impact on their patients. And before now, this is something that doctors really didn't have a way to know when a patient leaves the office, did they actually follow through on that therapy?
So Dr. Nowak, I hate to go here, and because it's a topic that I don't think we like talking about in healthcare, because everyone that I talk to about it just hates it. And that is prior authorization.
Oh.
It's a huge burden, a huge frustration for all parts of that ecosystem. But Surescripts just recently did a little bit of a survey that talks about this. Can you share a little bit about those results?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're very excited and very proud of the work we're doing, to help resolve this, as you mentioned, an industry challenge in prior authorization. So, it's no secret that 80 to 90% of physicians still consider prior authorization to be a big burden on themselves and on their patients, clinical consequences of delays in care, and just the overall frustration in the system across all stakeholders, right? It's frustrating for doctors, frustrating for patients, frustrating for pharmacists. And we just want to get patients on their therapy and get them started towards, living healthier lives. So, what we've done at Surescripts, and we've been working on this for, over a year now, and very excited that we have now out of pilot phase and into our general availability are what we call touchless prior authorization.
Okay.
And this is where we're able to, at the point of prescribing, intervene on that prescription that requires a prior authorization, collaborate with the PBM, collaborate with the provider, get the data that the PBM needs to approve that prior authorization, put all of that data together, and get any of those medications that we know are going to be approved, sometimes get them approved in less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
So by the time that script actually hits the pharmacy, it's already been approved, and the patient can just pick it up with no delays, no friction. Now, we can't auto-deny a prescription, so anyone that's not approved will go through the normal channels, and it'll go through all the typical processes of reviews and medical record reviews and appeals if that's necessary. But for any of those scripts that are able to be approved, we're automating that process and really reducing that barrier to getting patients on treatment.
30 seconds sounds like a dream for prior auth, because I know with some of the other processes, it could take a very long time to get that back and forth. So it sounds like Surescripts is really streamlining that whole thing.
Exactly. And now we just released a study yesterday that we now have over 76,000 providers with access to this amazing new technology. And we have over 70 drugs that we're able to automatically prior auth now, and growing rapidly. The team's been hard at work, updating those criteria, signing new deals with more provider systems to get more providers and really ultimately patients access to this great new capability to just frankly make prior authorization invisible, which is what everyone has been wanting for a long time.
And it sounds like you've had to work very closely with other members of the ecosystem to make this happen, like the payer side, the provider side. Can you talk to me about the collaboration that Surescripts is doing here?
Absolutely. And I'll say this is really one of my favorite parts of working at Surescripts is our role as a convener and where we sit sort of in the connective tissue within the ecosystem, and working so closely with the providers to really help them understand how we're going to use that data as it comes across, reach in, get the clinical data that's needed with no involvement, no work on their part at all, which is why we call it touchless. They don't have to touch it. And then collaborating with the PBMs, not just to automate their criteria, but really work with them to update and streamline what is the data that they really need, how can they kind of update and improve their systems to make that really a split-second decision for that approval or non-approval. And it really takes all sides of that ecosystem to make this work. This is not something, I say it's a team sport, so this is not something we could have done on our own. It really, it takes bringing all the parties together.
Dr. Nowak, let's talk about electronic benefits verification. What is that, and what is Surescripts working on in that instance?
Sure. So another great new feature and product that we brought to the market over the last year or so. So our electronic benefits verification is really a product that we've had in the market for a long time on the provider side. Very important for providers to be able to understand a patient's benefits as they're making decisions on treatment. What we've done is we've now made this electronic benefits verification process available to pharmaceutical manufacturers, particularly patient access programs. Again, it's all about getting patients on therapy and helping improve their outcomes. But what we're able to do is what is currently a manual process of phone calls where someone in a patient access program has to call over to the PBM, manually check the benefits, see if a patient's eligible for any kind of assistance. We're able to streamline all of that through an electronic transaction that happens within a split second. So again, it helps streamline efficiency for really all the parties involved, and most importantly, help that patient get on therapy faster.
I love it. I love it. What else is Surescripts working on? Anything else exciting? I mean, you've already mentioned quite a number of things, but is there anything else that you're working on?
Yeah, so many other things. So it's been we're in an innovation boom at Surescripts right now, which is very exciting. In my area, in the data and analytics area, we're going to be building upon what we just released with the First Fill Abandonment product, and building more and more around adherence insights, and really kind of taking it after that first fill. Do patients continue to stay on therapy? We're looking a lot around prior authorization and insights around prior authorization. So understanding sort of what's getting approved, what's not getting approved, why, what are the criteria, and how are different processes impacting patients getting on their therapy, so we can continue to create more interventions and solutions for some of those barriers.
Well, Dr. Nowak, you shared so much great information with us today. Where can people go to learn more about Surescripts?
Sure, I would say just head to www.surescripts.com.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Nowak, thank you so much for being on the program. We really appreciate everything you shared.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really enjoyed that conversations with Dr. Nowak. The stats she quoted about more than 1/4 of prescription abandonment and 40% of patients abandoning treatment due to prior auth barriers is just astounding. We definitely need solutions to address these specific problems. And hey, if you enjoyed this interview, please mash that like button and click subscribe. Also, check out healthcareittoday.com for more great content like this. I'm Colin Hung, and I'll catch you on the next video.